Partners, this week we have a profile of one of the most important inventors of the last century. Yet, if I were to mention his name to a group of 100 people, it is unlikely that anyone would recognize his name. And you know, that, partners, is very sad. Our honoree was born in 1890 in New York. At the age of 8, his family moved into a house in Yonkers, New York, just up the Hudson River from New York City. Shortly after moving to Yonkers, our young honoree caught rheumatic fever. The result was he was left with a slight twitch in his face that got worse when he got mad or got worried. He was so made fun of as a youngster that he spent most of his childhood reading. He loved to read about the new gadgets and inventions. His heroes became the inventors of the day. When he was 12, he started building his own radios to listen to communications from ship to shore using a system invented by Marconi. But our honoree was very angry that he could not hear faraway signals, so he set to work to fix that. Now, partners, let me ask you a question. If you were holding a public address microphone and walked up too close to the speaker, what would happen? Well, you'd suddenly get a big howl of feedback. So using that thought, our honoree took a weak signal and put it back on top of itself. He caused feedback, but not so much as to ruin everything. Now, friends, our honoree was only in his teens at the time, but he invented the principle that made AM radio possible. It was called the feedback circuit. During the First World War, he developed all his energies in improving primitive radios for the U.S. military. Then, in the 1930s, in an effort to clean up the sound of AM radio, he developed a totally new system that had no static at all. He invented FM radio. Jimmy, the guy invents the AM radio, then he invents FM radio. Sounds like he can do anything. We're pretty close to being right. After all, he did invent the sound system for television. RCA forced the government to change the frequencies for FM radio and said its system for television used a special circuit of its own for the sound. Thinking he had failed, in the last night of January 1954, he put on his hat and his gloves, opened the 13th floor window of his New York City apartment, and stepped out. Sadly, one of the greatest inventors of our time, the man who invented AM and then invented FM and invented the sound for television, thought he was a failure. Let me say his name again. Edwin Howard Armstrong. Next time you listen to AM or FM radio or watch TV, think of this lonely man who gave us all so much. Edwin Howard Armstrong. He was a patriot and a hero and an incredible inventor. Friends, you know the drill. Find that big red X up at the top. Click on it and you'll be magically transported back to the report page. I love you guys. Go get 'em, Tigers!